Welcome, everybody, to our Shred 10 info Zoom chat, where we're going to just have an absolute blast. Yeah, woohoo! We've been having so much fun with the Shred 10, and I immediately want to introduce you to the instigator of this whole thing, who is my very good friend, Tammy McMahon, who I watch shrinking and shrinking every time. I only get to see her a couple times a year, and every time I saw her, she looked better, and I was like, what the heck? And so she started this whole thing. And part of what we're going to do today is we are going to tell you about 5 myths about the shred. So misconceptions that people might have, including me, which is why I didn't embrace it in the beginning. So Cammie, hit it.
Hi. I always love that you blame me for this because this is so much fun.
It is so much fun. It's all your fault.
I'm going to share my screen and show you my picture and tell you my story at the same time. That way it's a little easier to kind of see what's happened. So on the left, it is, you can tell I'm full of inflammation. 7 years ago, actually in like 2 weeks, it'll be exactly 7 years ago that picture was taken. Little did I know, not only did I have inflammation, I had fibromyalgia, I had digestive issues, allergies, sinus issues. I mean, I was full of it. And I kept getting told by doctors, you're normal. There's nothing we're seeing on these tests. You're getting older. And I'm like, really? I'm not even 35 yet. How's that even work? So I thought, wow, what is that going to look like long term? Because seriously, if I'm 34 and this is how I feel, what's that look like for my kids' longevity and generation after generation? So when these little magic beans came into my life, that helped a ton. And then Shred 10 came. And so when Shred 10 came, I really got into, okay, I'll shred for 10 days and then go back to my normal eating habits, my normal everything. So the myth number one that I got was, I'll just shred for 10 days. It'll fix everything. And I'll go back to eating my pizza and my french fries and my burgers. And then, because shred for 10 days will fix everything. But no, as I learned, shredding for 10 days and going back to it didn't really help me any at all. In order to shred old habits consistently, I ended up doing a shred for, and this is when it opened my eyes. I went from March to June. I did a solid 3-month shred. Because when I learned that I could shred old habits, then I had more vibrant health. And on the right picture, that's what happened. My husband and I went to Mexico for our 10-year anniversary. And that was my goal when I realized, hey, I want to shred for 3 months straight. And then that happened. And I was like, oh, so that opened my eyes to, you can't just shred for 10 days and go back to your old habits. You have to consistently continue on. And what's important about the shred, I'm going to show you 2 pictures here. Shred 10 on the left. So phase 1 is the first 10 days. So it's important that what you put in your body through good nutrition is that's important, but it's twofold. The other side of that is what you detox out. So what you take out, those habits you take out, is just as important. So on the left, the first 10 days, you're going to add more plant foods and your magic little beans that we're going to talk about. There's 2 shakes that we'll also talk about as well. I always say 8 to 10 8-ounce glasses of water, half your body weight in water. Take 10 deep breaths and get 7 hours of sleep daily and exercise most days. That doesn't mean you have to spend 2 hours in the gym. That just means get your body moving. You're going to eliminate caffeine and alcohol, eating after 6 p.m., basically give your digestive system 12 hours of rest. If you're working shift work, pregnant mamas and nursing mamas don't even get involved in that piece. But you got to give your digestive system 12 hours of rest. If you're not pregnant, you're not a child, or you're not working, or you're not an elite athlete. You eliminate processed foods, gluten and dairy, artificial and refined sugars. Now on the right, so the key here is phase 2, you continue on for the next 20 days inside of the month. And so you continue 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You're going to reduce caffeine and alcohol, eating after 6, or that 12-hour rest for digestive, processed foods, but you continue to eliminate gluten and dairy and artificial and refined sugars. It's really a program that is simple. It's easy to embrace. And once you really get moving on it and you get your brain right on doing this consistently, your body's really going to thank you. So, Miss Melanie, I think you are next. My shrinking friend, because last time I saw you, you were shrinking as well. So I know after you kind of caught on to what I embraced, you and Mindy joined in and are seeing some pretty phenomenal results too.
We are. Okay, so if you'll stop sharing screen, I can start sharing screen.
Oh, yeah, I guess I kind of have to do that. So let's stop.
There you go. The details, right? Okay, so here I go with my story, which is, not all Cammie's fault, but the last chapter of it is. So if you look at me in the top left there, that's me. I can never remember exactly. I think it's almost 13 years ago, if I've got my math right. It was a long time ago. And at the time, I was in my mid-40s, and I had excruciating insomnia, sometimes debilitating joint pain, mostly back pain, frequent cold and flus that were leading to bronchitis or strep throat. And I'd been on a diet for 40 years and yet was not able to keep it off. And I didn't understand why. It was really frustrating. And so also I was looking at my genetics, which included breast cancer and diabetes and high blood pressure, and thinking there has to be more to life. This is not normal. So what I'm going to cover when I get a little ways into my story is myth number 2. The shred is about losing 10 pounds in 10 days, right? No, it's not. It's about having a better health experience, which sometimes does lead to weight loss if that's what you need. But you're going to find out we got somebody on here who's gained weight from the shred. So anyway, that's the myth. And so here I am in the middle of my story thinking there's got to be more to life. And like Cammie, the doctors are saying this is normal, you're just getting older. And I'm thinking, what the heck? No, this can't be normal. Everything inside me screamed out, this can't be normal. There's got to be a better way. And so enter my plant concentrates, my magic beans. And I started taking them, and energy came up and sleep improved. Afternoon nap disappeared, went through the first winter of my life without a cold or a flu, off thyroid meds. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on and on. Blood work better every year, joint pain gone, vision improving. It's just ridiculous. And so I had used the shred many times that, Cammie used, and noticed that it helped, but not as much as I wanted. And after quite a few years in Juice Plus, in which, by the way, I had gone down 3 sizes, I had plateaued, and I was not feeling real happy about that. And I wanted even a better health experience. So I see Cammie having it, and I think, okay. So I started shredding this fall on September 10th. And then between then and Thanksgiving, I went down 7 pounds, which was amazing. And my metabolism was reviving. It was a miracle, that things were starting to happen in my body. And what's really noteworthy is, first of all, I'm 60 years old. And if you know any 60-year-old women, weight loss is like a miracle. And in that 2-month period, September, October, November, that's 3 months, I can count. In the last month, I traveled 21 out of 30 days leading up to Thanksgiving. And I still was able to lose weight during that time. So it is a doable thing. And so belly fat greatly decreased, which is a big deal because my dad died from diabetes. And my sugar cravings were gone. I'm a big sugar person. So that was just huge. By the time I got to the end of October, I found I wasn't even wanting ice cream anymore. So it wasn't about self-control. It was about getting things out of my body so that my body was craving good things. Oh my gosh, I could just go on and on and on and on. Running 7 miles, I can run. I haven't done that for decades. So that's really cool. So what I discovered is what I personally, for my body, needed a more long-term pure shred to get the results I wanted. And this was about so much more than weight loss. So as you can see from all the things that happened to me, it's about what's happening. I mean, if that's happening on the outside, what's happening on the cellular level that's going to give me even better results, because my blood work gets better every single year, y'all, and that's a big deal. So no, it's not about losing 10 pounds in 10 days. It is about finding a new normal, a new health experience, and finding the best you possible. So I'm really excited about that. And I want to pass the baton to my kids, Dave and Mindy. Mindy's my daughter. So hit it, guys.
All right.
Let me
You want to stop sharing. Yeah. And then Dave's going to go first.
Yeah.
And he has a very important myth for us.
Yes, I do. And so the myth that I'm going to be covering today, it's that basically you lose weight while shredding, which is total, and I'm going to say it's total BS. So, yeah, so one of the cool things is that, so my story actually starts about like, probably back in 2013, I started working out and eating differently, and just really took control of my health because my family was just going through all these different like health crises. And then Mindy and I started dating thereafter, and I started hearing about these magic beans that Cami and Melanie have been talking about so far. And it was funny because at first I was like, okay, that's cool for everybody else, but no, like, no, thank you. And so, but I just kept hearing more about it. And then a lot of my family started taking it and had just really awesome, like just improvements in their health. And so I started taking it and just started noticing a lot of changes in my health. And so one of the cool things is that within this past year, so we had a baby this year, and she's 9 months old now, which is freaking awesome. And so after the baby came, I actually just stopped taking care of myself because I was taking care of Mindy when I could and taking care of the baby, and was just eating really, really badly too. And it's actually ended up losing a lot of weight. And then at one point I just realized like, okay, I need to start taking care of myself again. And so I started shredding again, and I've done it before, and I just had really awesome, like really great experiences with it. Just like my skin gets a lot better. I feel like my sleep quality improves a lot. I don't rely on caffeine as much either. Yeah. So when we started shredding again, I ended up actually gaining weight just because I was taking care of myself and exercising again, and yeah, just eating really healthy too. Yeah. Yeah. So I went from, and I'm going to be honest, like, I think my weight actually ended up going down to like about 143, which is kind of a big deal for me because I have issues being able to gain weight anyways. And then when I started shredding and eating healthy again, my weight actually went back up to about 155, 158. So yeah, so that's my story.
Holy cow. I didn't know the numbers.
Yeah.
Wow, right.
Yeah. And then I'm just going to share too. So one of like the things that I am so grateful for, especially just with this whole experience, is so I was on actually some anti-depression, anti-anxiety medication before. And just because of shredding and with Juice Plus, and just also like just a lot of like the personal change that I've gone through, I was actually able to get off of it last year. And so I haven't looked back. So
Amazing.
mm-hmm.
So you're saying some people will lose weight and some people will gain weight.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Right?
Very cool. So I am Mindy, and I have been a pediatric ER nurse for, gosh, it's been almost 12 years now. And I've done some NICU and I've done some inpatient pediatrics, but all women's and children's healthcare. And now my days are spent in the ER. The myth I'm going to talk about briefly is that it's all about the number on the scale. Because now you heard Cami and Melanie say that they lost weight and that's so great, and Dave gained weight and that's so great. So it's not about gaining or losing weight, but it is about the number on the scale, right?
Because you're going to be in here. This is
No, it's not. It's not about the number on the scale at all. It's about the inflammation in your body. And as you resolve the inflammation in your body, you probably will gain or lose weight, whichever your body needs to do, because our bodies are super smart and will do what they were created to when we fuel them properly. Who knew?
Right? Yeah.
So it's not about the number on the scale at all. It's about reducing inflammation. And the cool thing is our magic beans that we're all raving about have some really amazing science behind them, because I'm a nurse, I'm a science girl, I'm a science nerd through and through, you guys. And stories are great, but you can have weird fluke stories about lots of different things, and that doesn't mean it's solid science. And so there are 5 clinical research studies measuring biomarkers in your blood that show that inflammation is reduced significantly, time and time again, all 5 studies. And that's what I love to see, because inflammation is the root of pretty much every disease that's known to mankind. So if you can reduce inflammation in your body, things are going to be looking up. And that's what I've experienced in my own life. I started right after my awesome mama. I saw her health changes, and I was in nursing school, and I was sick all the time, like the sickest I'd ever been in my whole life. I was exhausted, terrible skin, overweight, unhappy, just miserable. And so I asked her to buy me some of those magic beans, and she did, being the awesome mama that she is. And I started taking it, and I lost some weight, my skin got better, I felt better, I hardly ever got sick anymore, and that was great. But then I kind of plateaued too, and was watching Cami also, and was like, yeah, I feel so much better than I did, but I think I could feel even better. And so started shredding at the same time as my mom in September. And so we're about 3.5 months into that. And I had baby weight to lose also, and I was really sick. I hemorrhaged and tried to die in childbirth. Oops. And was really sick afterwards and felt really bad, and decided the way to fix that was chocolate and wine. And it turns out those didn't fix it. Who knew?
And a lot of ice cream too.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. Ice cream fixes everything, I thought. It doesn't, it turns out, which is a shame. But I started shredding. And while it's not about the number on the scale, as I've reduced the inflammation in my body, I'm down 16 pounds in 3.5 months. And that includes Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, a week of traveling for fun in Florida, and having an infant in the house and learning how to do that, and working long shifts in the ER. I work 12 to 14-hour days. So those are not ideal circumstances by any stretch. And my weight loss has slowed down a little bit, but I still lost 2 pounds, 3 pounds over Christmas over the past month, which is amazing. It's fantastic. So and I just have to say, my acne has resolved to a whole new level. My skin looks awesome. I have 2 sunspots on my face that have disappeared, which I didn't even know was possible. I just thought they were a permanent part of my face, and they're not, which is amazing. And I was really struggling with postpartum depression after our daughter came, because I was so sick in part. And so that is really all resolved too through nutrition, which is amazing. So now we get to hear from my amazing friend Josh, who has also had just a fantastic experience, and I'm excited to hear what he has to say.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing, Dave and Mindy. Love your stories, and have been privy to some of that too firsthand, which is so cool to experience. My story comes about, I'm going to share screen here. Let me see what I got. Okay, my story starts about 4.5 years ago, right around Christmas, when I looked about like this. Can you see the Christmas picture by the tree, I think? I just shared it. So I was sitting at about 260 pounds or so, but I was the runt of the litter. I've got brothers and sister and parents, all of whom were heavier than me, but one. So I felt pretty satisfied at 260. I thought, I'm the little one, right? But shortly thereafter, I was to find out that I had some inflammation in a sensitive part of the male genitalia, quite frankly, and I went to the doctor, and he said he couldn't rule out cancer, and he told me to start taking a look at everything that would apply. So whether that was nutrition, exercise, how I sleep, how I eat, just everything. And so coming from him, it was important. But I had a friend, Neil, who had been trying to tell me for a year about nutrition. And I just didn't want to hear it. But finally, I relented, under doctor's orders and under the advice of many of the medical community here in Chicagoland area. So I got started on Juice Plus. And but before I go any further, I want to share one more myth, the idea that the shred is a quick fix for your health. That, you start shredding today and tomorrow that it's all good, right? Well, no. I mean, if you eat pizza today, are you, 20 pounds heavier tomorrow? Generally speaking, not, right? And so even though we've got this fantastic, capsule blend that gives us 36 different fruits and vegetables, and the smoothies that give us another 25, and the bars that give us another 25, and so all that said and told is nearly 90 fruits and vegetables in my body every week. That's crazy. I don't know a vegan that does that. When I started doing that, the first thing I noticed, and this was a big win, and you can probably hear it in my voice a little bit, but I am one of the worst allergy sufferers in the world. I mean, I'm the top 1%. And so when my allergies started getting better, that was a huge win. They weren't magically gone, but they were all like dealt with, I would say 75% easier. I haven't bought a box of Allegra or Claritin or anything like that in years. So I've been basically able to go without, which is amazing to me. So that was some of the initial things, my athlete's foot, more gross stuff, right? This is men's stuff. Sorry, fellas or ladies. But, my athlete's foot wouldn't show up much anymore. And when it did, it was easier to deal with. And, lots of little things like that. I'd floss and my gums didn't bleed anymore. And those were kind of the initial things. But after a while, my friend said, hey, look, you've been taking the capsules, but maybe you should really shred, like your capsules and smoothies, the occasional bar. Look at how you are eating when you eat, whole foods instead of processed foods. Look at how you sleep instead of just catching where catch can, being more systematic about it. Hydrating better instead of, all the juice and milk and pop that I used to drink. I drink mostly water now. Not only when I shred, but even when I don't shred, I realize such a big difference. And there are these tricks about the shred all the way along that I've just learned have been such a boon. But the biggest win for me was when I went from happy devotee and customer, took me a few years to move to a place where I was like, I'm going to start sharing this with people. I've seen great results in sharing with others. And I said, Wendy, my wife, who was super reluctant, and I was pretty reluctant myself, but she didn't want to touch it. And I said, look, I'm going to start doing this as a business. And you got to try it. I mean, what are people going to say if I don't have my wife even trying it, right? So you got to give it a try. So after much conversation, we got to that place. And about a year later, and this is 2 years into my experience on Juice Plus, but 1 year into her experience, the second baby that we had prayed for so long had taken hold. And we had had several miscarriages since our daughter was born 9 years ago. And then we had several years of silence. But while we were on the shred, my wife was able to conceive and bore us a son just a little over a year ago. A little Christmas miracle. So all that said and told, nutrition, the long story short is this. Things will change initially as you shred, right? But they also change over time. And if you don't give your body time to heal from the years I've spent abusing my body, you're not going to get the long-term results. But as you shred periodically over time, that ends up healing a number of different things in your body. So instead of looking like this or like this, that's one of my favorites. Geez. Ugh. This was just a couple months ago with miracle baby Zach. And I think Ali would like me to share this one of her and I because she likes playing daddy dress up time. So I did end up losing over time about 40 pounds on the shred. But I'll tell you, before I lost the first pound, the health benefits, that's where it was at with the allergies and the asthma and the less frequent sicknesses and that sort of thing. So that said, that's my shred story. I'm going to kick it back to Melanie, I believe.
Oh my goodness. That's amazing. Thank you, Josh. Okay, so guys, you heard a lot of stories, and what I want to point out is that we have people here sharing in their 30s, 40s, and 60s, I believe. So the shred's for everyone. What we had here, we have busy professionals. We've got moms, we've got dads, we've got grandmas, we've got athletes, we've got pastors, we've got pregnant and nursing moms, and even recovering couch potatoes. Okay, so we've got everything that we know it's good for. And what we really want you to know is so much on our heart is that the shred will improve literally any health condition. Did I say it would cure it? No, it will improve it. We know that. There's medical research to back that up. And if you want to know more about that, ask Mindy the nurse, because she can explain it to you and I can connect you with her. So it is about taking your health to the next level. And there's a Shred Facebook group for support. If you feel like, oh, this is scary, we're going to help you. And then each of us do a private messenger group just with a few of our friends that are shredding. So you have, a few buddies to walk through it with you. So know that there's support there. You don't do this alone. And if it seems too hard for you, ask your friend to help you figure out, what part of it would be a good fit for you, because there's a way to do it. If the whole big thing sounds too hard, you can start small. And we want to help you do that. And then also, if you love this and you want to learn more, there is a 23-minute daily detox video by Dr. Mitra Ray, who is this just genius research microbiologist. And you definitely want to see that. So if you want to see that, ask the friend that invited you, and we will send that along to you. Or if you're watching it on recording, ask your friend. So thank you so much for joining us. It was an honor. And y'all, all we just want is we all feel so good, and we want everybody to have what we found.
Amen.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and just wishing you the best health in 2019. We love you all. Thank you so much.
Bye.